This is Corey Willis with PPEI, and you're listening to the Diesel Podcast.
I'm Adam Blattenberg from Diesel World.
This is Dan, owner of Dan's Diesel Performance.
I'm Kaz from Diesel Doctor of Tennessee, and you're listening to the Diesel Podcast.
What is going on, Diesel Nation? We're excited to have you guys with us today on UCC week. And today we're going to be chatting with Justin Andres, who's got a nasty 6.4 liter Cummins. And he's going to be telling us what is going into preparing for it. So he's got a lot of seat time in this truck and a lot of experience competing with it all over the country. But what else does it take to head to Indiana and be able to have a successful competition? So we're going to be asking him, kind of what went into it, what he's doing, and what he would define as a successful UCC experience. So we're really excited to chat with him today. Before we get to it, though, we want to give a shout out to two of our sponsors who make episodes like this one possible. The first is Fleece Performance. Fleece is the official lift pump of the Diesel Podcast, and they've got a really sweet setup. If you've got a Duramax or a Cummins, it's basically a drop-in lift pump. So the install's easy. It keeps all the factory connections, and it has a lifetime warranty. So make sure you head on over to fleeceperformance.com. Check that out. It's going to be one of the first things you do when modifying your truck, either for power or just getting a little bit better performance out of it. And also PPEI. PPEI is the official tuner of the Diesel Podcast, and those guys have been really cranking on some tunes for 6.7 Cummins, Power Stroke, the L5P, the Power Stroke in the F-150s, the 5-liter V8 Cummins that's in the Titan. So those guys are bringing really solid tuning, and not just racing, but also for everyday drivers. So if you're looking for a little bit more torque, you want to make sure that you have a safe calibration in your truck to work with the emissions components. Those guys got you covered. Just head on over to ppei.com and check out what they got. All right, let's get to chatting with Justin and hearing how he got ready for UCC 2019. Justin, it's fantastic to have you on our UCC Week podcast, chat with you about the truck and getting ready for the event. And we've heard a lot about your truck and seen it over the years, and tons of different things you've done with this. We appreciate your time on this busy week to chat with us.
Yeah, not a problem. Glad to be here.
So I got to ask you, what's it like getting ready for UCC and competing on the biggest stage in diesel performance?
So I think for anybody, that travels, one of the biggest things to prepare for is always the trailer. What to bring, what's going to break, what could break. Biggest thing, the difference between just going on a weekend drag race versus going to UCC and or the King Street Challenge that we did, is it's a multiple event challenge. So it's not a matter of you got the slicks bolted on the truck, throw it in the trailer, throw your gear in, your cooler, canopy, stuff like that, hitch up and go. Biggest thing is definitely the trailer prep. Aside from making sure that it's ready, like I said, having everything in there. We have 3 sets of tires with. You have extra trannies with. All sorts of parts if you got to rebuild anything, pull and hitch stuff. So it's really a matter of what could break and how fast you can fix it to get going again. We spend at least a good majority of a day just literally packing the trailer and figuring out what we need. I have a checklist that I made for the King of Streets Challenge, which is most of the events that take place at UCC. So I got a little cheat sheet that I can just kind of run down, and I don't have to keep trying to remember in my head what I'm forgetting. So that helps quite a bit to make sure that we have everything we think we need.
That's really, I think, when we're on the outside looking in, we can kind of forget that a little bit. Is you know your truck, you know how it performs, changes you're making to the setup, how the truck reacts to it. But it's all the other things, like you said, what could break, how quickly can you fix it? Do you have spares or 2 or 3 spares or just different things like that, so you can, if something does happen, you can quickly get back up and running and keep competing.
Absolutely. The industry is fortunate enough that most of the time the trailer next to you if you did forget something, most people are willing to help out. If you need to borrow jack stands or anything of that such. We had to make a repair in King of the Streets challenge, and we needed to borrow some parts from Levon with Fire Punk. And even though they were another competitor, they were more than willing to, give us what we needed so that we could get fixed back up and ready for the next event, which is only a couple hours away. So from what I've seen over the last few years, everybody, or most people, they're willing to help out if you need a hand. So that helps as well. But like I said, it's best to know what you have with you so you can come up with a solution to fix or adjust to whatever you need at that time.
As far as the competition itself, what are some kind of final thoughts as the competition's coming right up? Just some final thoughts that you have as far as competing in it and getting mentally ready for the stress and all the different things that go into drag racing, sled pulling, the dyno events, and probably waiting your turn to go and just putting it all together to have a solid performance.
Really, we're fortunate enough to where I have experience in most of the categories that we run in. Grew up more on a sled pull basis, nothing big time, just some local stuff. But so as far as some of the competitors that either have only pulled once or twice in their life or haven't pulled, or UCC 18 was their first pull ever, there's definitely a lot of fright that can go into people's mind with the sled pull. Is your chassis going to twist apart, or how well your setup is built? So we can kind of brush that over our shoulders a little bit and not get too concerned with that. The dyno is really about the only thing that I myself don't have a lot of experience in, so it does it's a mental game. Like, you really just need to make sure that you run your truck the best that you can, and really just don't worry about the next person, who's ahead of you, who's behind you, what number you're shooting for, or anything like that. Just try to run it to your best ability, and the number will follow. Drag race portion, we've gotten into some of that, and we've done fairly well with seeing some good time results. But this year, with actual side-by-side racing rather than just throwing out a Hail Mary pass, and you have all day to fix the truck if something would happen to break, and or if you get one pass in, you get points. This year, it's definitely more of a consistency game. You just can't throw the whole kitchen sink at the truck the first round and, plan to swap the motor the next day for the dyno. Really need to keep the truck within its limits and compete to its best ability, and plan to race, 4, 5, 6 passes down the track that same day on Friday.
For the competition as a whole, what would you define as a successful event? Obviously winning the whole thing would definitely be successful, but what are some goals that you have for the truck in some of the different categories, or some of the different things? Like, when you're heading home after the event, you said, man, that was a great event. I feel like we accomplished what we set out to do, and I'm ready to do it again.
So what I'm looking for this year, last year, obviously we went out, threw down a really good number at the drag strip, but we hurt the truck. We were unable to finish the event, which I was fairly bummed out about. All the time, the effort, the money, people that have came. You almost feel like you let them down, but at the same note, like, most people going there know that you're going to run everything to the hardest. With everybody bringing, not everybody, but a few people bringing extra engines and or engine parts, to rebuild and fix from pushing so hard. So I myself, as a goal, I'd like to be able to finish the event out, whether the truck drives on the trailer itself or gets pushed on. We'll figure that out on Sunday, but I would like to make it through all 3 events, get a legit score, and see where we stack out with some of the best guys in the industry.
As far as getting a truck like this ready and prepping for it, which really, it's almost like it takes a whole year, between the truck and just preparing everything for it, is a lot of people come together and help you. Who are some companies and some people that you'd like to thank for helping you get ready to go compete on the biggest stage out there?
So where we need to throw the biggest thanks is obviously to the family. We spend a lot of time in the shop away from family, wife, kid, parents, so forth. It takes weekends. It takes time to put a truck together to this caliber. We need to thank Fleece Performance Engineering for donating some time, thoughts, ideas, all the phone calls Chase takes, ideas I throw at Tony, Jake as well. Then we need to thank Freedom Racing Engines for always providing us an engine, giving us the best that they can to get me where I need to be, whether it's at this UCC level, street truck, where the red truck has been. Dynomite Diesel, they provide us some fuel injection components for the truck to make sure that the engine's healthy and happy with that larger size fuel. It's kind of about, for the most part, the main people. It definitely takes a lot more than that. There's small guys, individuals, shooting ideas off of any other competitor. I've asked Josh over at Jegs in Minnesota. We talk once in a while about random stuff. It's just bits and pieces from multiple people, for sure. Advice goes a long ways. It's not a matter of who supplies parts, who helps with the truck. A lot of it is advice and ideas. Then that all develops into one finished product, and you have a truck ready to compete.
Well, we're really looking forward to seeing you out there and watching the competition. And I've seen your truck before. I think it was at an ATS Dyno Day a few years back that I saw it. And the guys over at Fleece, they've been on the podcast before and have mentioned your truck and the engine and everything. And we're diesel fans first and foremost. So we wish you the best of luck out there. Can't wait to see how it does and be able to chat with you, later on in the year and get your feedback on everything, what it was like.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely excited to be there. We do have some pretty big changes that most people don't know about, so real excited to see some face gestures from everybody about where and what we've came up with for this year.
Awesome. Yeah, we won't try to pry and get the secrets out yet, but sometime this year you'll have to come back on and tell us just what they were and what kind of difference those changes made.
Will do. Yep. Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate your time today, Justin, and like I said, best of luck and forward to seeing your truck out there.
Yep. Thank you.
Don't forget, diesel fans, make sure not on over to fleeceperformance.com. You got to check out the lift pump system they got for Cummins and Duramax trucks, and also PPEI.com if you're looking to tune your truck, get a bit more power out of it, and still have it be safe so you can put a ton of miles on it, use it for work, making money, or taking trips. They've got you covered whether you got a Cummins, Duramax, or Power Stroke. Till next time, keep the shiny side up.